realized through my studies that God had killed over 3 million people in the Bible, and the Satan didn't kill anybody. So I said, wait a minute, something's a little off here. He's killing everybody, and Satan didn't kill anybody. If you see a woman walking through the land and you decide to rape her, and the word rape is the actual word, look it up, you can. And if after you rape her, if you decide you want to make her your wife, you can keep her as your wife too. Now you have rape and abduction. Now, you're saying to yourself, the creator of the universe, okay, has all power, all knowing, omnipotent, omniscient. Why in the world would he write stuff like that, or give a man the ability to write stuff like that to put in his book? In some cases, it's not talking about the creator of the universe. We have to be able to discern that. We have to be able to have the eye to see that some of this is manipulation for the power of people to put on top of other people. In the New Testament, Jesus says, honor your slave master. Now, why would we want to honor a slave master? As you would honor me, he says. Do you think Jesus really would say something like that? I don't.
You said, when I read the Bible, Deuteronomy, you went to multiple different books in the Bible, right? And you said, what I'm noticing here is, God killed 3 million, but the devil, I don't hear anything about the devil. What did you mean by that?
Well, what I'm saying is, you have to understand that a lot of the orders for death, including Sodom and Gomorrah, are being created or being ordered by God himself, if it is even a him. I don't believe it's a gender at all. But this is why I'm saying these people, the person that's being considered to be God in the Bible, I don't think is an actual creator of the universe. I think we're mistaking the creator of the universe for a person, for people, different people that exist within that text that have been masquerading as gods, according to the ancient tablets. They came here, they engaged mankind. If you read the book of Enoch, you discover like the angel Azazel comes down, right? He comes from the sky down to earth. The first thing he teaches us is how to make weapons. Let me show you how to smelt this steel and make this sword that can cut through anything. Let me show you how to make a breastplate. Let me show you how to make a shield so that you can repel a blade and all these kind of things. And then he even goes out and helps humans kill people. So these are not what they call quote unquote angels. In my opinion, these are what people call aliens or advanced. I call them advanced beings because we look a lot like them and they look a lot like us. There is some distinction. They were distinguishable from humans, but they look just like humans in the biblical text. In the Bible, in some texts, they call them the Anak, A-N-A-K, the Anunnaki, the Anak. They say we were grasshoppers in their eyesight. They were big people. And these people came from heaven to earth. And in the Naturu, in ancient Egypt, they say the Naturu came down from heaven to earth and turned mud into a kingdom. In the Aboriginal culture, the Aboriginal elder, I've been on walkabouts in the outback. The Aboriginal elders, verbal handed down history for thousands of years. We were seeded on this planet by the Pleiadians. They brought us here. We were the first people here. You go to the Hopi tribe, the Lakota tribe, our star brothers seeded us on this planet. I mean, we keep slapping our ancient ancestors in the face, doubting their wisdom and doubting their understanding of what really happened. And doubting their drawings that they left behind and their texts that they left behind by coming up with their own modern day mainstream idea of what we think happened when they left the proof and the evidence right for us.
So the devil, who is the devil in your eyes? Is he also an alien, or is it not a real person, not a real spirit? Who is the devil? Let
me tell you what happened. So you go again into the ancient tablets, you discover that and Yahweh, who's in the Bible is known as God, right? Yahweh is known in the ancient text as Satan, the Lord of Eden, E-D-I-N. The land between the Euphrates and the Tigris rivers is where they had the Eden, E-D-I-N. And when he has his outdoor laboratories, what I like to call it, where they discovered that mating these people together would work if they had enough genetic diversity. So what happens is his brother, Enki, who's now known as Satan, he comes in and he starts talking to the people there. And he starts telling them, it wasn't just Adam and Eve he was talking to, there were other people there. And he was telling them how powerful they really were. And that the mysteries of the universe was inside of their body and that they had the ability to ascend even to a higher level than even them. And so these people then realized that they weren't animals. They clothed themselves. And by the time this Yahweh character, also known as Enlil, comes back, Satan, he realizes what's happened, that his brother has given them the apple. What's the apple? Knowledge. And so he gets pissed off and he curses his brother and he tells them, never listen to him again. He's evil. He's the devil. He wants to hurt you. That's where this whole devil thing pops up from. It comes from the Sumerian tablets. Okay? That's where it comes from. It comes from the Sumerian tablets. Enki and Enlil, two brothers fighting each other because one brother didn't like what the other brother was doing to people.
So what is your interpretation of people who go and, go to conferences and they look up to the devil and evil and, there's a religion, right? What is the church called? Satanists. What do you think about them?
I don't like it. I mean, and say it's all about frequencies. Yeah, and people say, well, you don't believe in God. You're atheist. No, I'm not an atheist. I believe there's a God. I believe there's a God. I talk about it in my book, Fractal Holographic Universe, because the evidence, the circumstantial evidence of a creator is all around us, even inside this microphone.
Who do you think it is?
It's not a who, it's a frequency. I believe that God is a frequency. We have to tune into that frequency. We understand a couple things through metaphysics. There's a universal consciousness, and there's only one consciousness. You and I appear to be separate and divided apart, but we're not. We're still only one. Ancient Mayan saying, "In lakek alakin," I am just another you. And so there's a radio station broadcasting out frequencies from the universal mind, and it's broken up into point number. I'm 99.1, you're 99.2, he's 99.3. Your avatar body is designed to encapsulate a point number of that frequency for a temporal amount of time. You're able to encapsulate that frequency of consciousness. But it's all coming from one source. It's a frequency.
So what do you think about the Bible?
Well, the Bible has a lot of good information in it. If you can apply some of the information, it can really change your life. It can really put you on the right path. But it also has some information in it that's detrimental to people as well. You have to have discernment with what you're reading in the Bible. In the Bible, where you see the word God everywhere, that's a mistranslation by accident on purpose. The original word is gods with an S. It's always with an S. When you back engineer the actual word, the translations, you find out it's gods, not God singular. Elohim is also a plural term. It's not a singular term. And you also discover that Yahweh is actually Enlil from the Sumerian cuneiform pantheon, from the Sumerian cuneiform text. He's Enlil. It becomes Yahweh in the biblical text. And there's all these correlations between the different ancient characters from the Sumerian text end up in the biblical text. And you find out in the book of Deuteronomy that these gods are fighting each other over resources and people. So if you read, anyone who reads the book of Deuteronomy begins to realize this probably isn't the creator of the universe that wrote this. When God tells people, God is supposed to be all-knowing, all-loving, ain't he the same all the time? Then all of a sudden, you read in the book of Deuteronomy and he's saying, there's one person in this city that doesn't like me. I want you guys to go over there. Now, keep in mind, they've never met these people. Kill the women, kill the children, kill their animals, and bring the spoils of war back to me. Now, what kind of God needs the spoils of war, and what kind of God needs to kill children? There's also a verse in there in the book of Deuteronomy where God tells a man, if you see a woman walking through the land and you decide to rape her, and the word rape is the actual word, look it up, you can. And if after you rape her, if you decide you want to make her your wife, you can keep her as your wife too. Now you have rape and abduction. Now, you're saying to yourself, the creator of the universe, has all power, all-knowing, omnipotent, omniscient. Why in the world would he write stuff like that or give a man the ability to write stuff like that to put in his book? In some cases, it's not talking about the creator of the universe. We have to be able to discern that. We have to be able to have the eye to see that some of this is manipulation for the power of people to put on top of other people. In the New Testament, Jesus says, honor your slave master. Now, why would we want to honor a slave master? As you would honor me, he says. Do you think Jesus really would say something like that? I don't. I think that his message was pure and clean and clear, that he was trying to usher back a level of Christ consciousness back in humanity. And that's the return. The second return is when we all reach a level of Christ consciousness. That's when Jesus comes back. He comes back in our minds, not in a physical form. And for people to take his words and screw it around to make it okay for slavery, I think that's a big thing where we see now the injection of human minds, not the creator of the universe. So you have to be discerning with the biblical text.
Who is Jesus to you? In your eyes, who is Jesus?
His name is Yeshua. Okay. Jesus is first. The J is a recent letter. The J is not that old. So it really was originally Isus, and that name Isus means hail Zeus. Okay. So you're calling on Zeus when you say Jesus. One of the Sumerian people who converted over to the Greek gods. But his name is Yeshua, and so Yeshua to me very powerful person, very spiritual, high level of knowledge, a student of the Egyptian mysteries. When Jesus disappears from the Bible, he actually ends up in Egypt, okay? You can find this information in a book that was kept out of the biblical text called the Gospel of the Holy 12. And in the Gospel of the Holy 12, he shows up in Egypt, and we know that's a fact because I take people on tour every year to Egypt, and I take them to the house that Jesus lived in. It's a crypt. It's actually worship. People come there to see that bed that he laid in every single year. When I take people there, we take them straight there. And we know the path that he traveled throughout Egypt because it's a huge sign outside that Coptic church where he lived that shows where he went. Now, when he was in Egypt, what did he go there for? To learn the Egyptian mysteries. Who taught the Egyptian mysteries? Thoth, the Atlantean priest king, the person I wrote this book about. And so Thoth was the teacher of the Egyptian mysteries, or the ancient mysteries of what it was called. And then he leaves there and he goes to Tibet to learn Qigong and Reiki healing, which was confirmed by the Dalai Lama. And then he heads down into India to learn the mystic arts, teaching reincarnation all the way back. Then the Bible picks him up at the age of 32. I call my son out of Egypt. He shows up on the back of a donkey, proclaims himself to be the Messiah. So it's a big story. I think that he had a big message. I don't think people were able to grasp it at the time. But his message was that not that he was coming back, but that the Christ would return, the Christ consciousness.
Where did you get this info? What book did you read that said this? Because this isn't, you didn't come up with this. You read this from somewhere. What did you read that told you this?
The Gospel of the Holy 12.
The Gospel of the Holy 12.
Another apocrypha text that was, kept out of the canonized Bible.
Got it. And that's what you learned from this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you, there's a lot of people that, smart people, mathematicians, a lot of skeptics that are out there as well. How many people agree with what you have to say? How many people agree with this?
Well, I got 8 million people following my accounts across all platforms. I don't know.
So I'm not talking about that part. Of course, when you're talking with this level of firmness, there's a lot of that's why I'm curious. I'm curious to know how you come up with your beliefs.
Yeah.
But why is it, if that's what you believe in, more people don't believe in that? Why do you think such a small sect?
When you're born, you're given a name, a race, and a religion,
right,
and you spend the rest of your life defending a false identity. You don't know who you are. I don't know who I am. You were given your name. I was given my name. Who's Billy Carson? I didn't come up with that name. Somebody gave me that name. And then somebody said, get on your knees and pray before you go to bed. Say the Lord's Prayer before you go to bed. And so I got on my knees and I said the Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, But then when you trace back that Lord's Prayer, whose prayer is that? That's the prayer of Ptah. Who's Ptah? Ea Enki from the Sumerian tablets. He wrote that prayer in ancient cuneiform, which then made it all the way into the Bible. And you think you're praying to God, you're saying the prayer of Ptah. So we've been brainwashed. We've been programmed because for generations, we keep getting handed down this system where we're given this false creation of who we are, and we believe it wholeheartedly. We'll fight for it to the absolute death. People will die over those things that were given to them, not that they came up with on their own initially or originally. And so it's a dangerous thing because we have a lot of people walking around that just took the programming code, and they don't even understand really who they are, what they're all about. That's why so many people don't walk in their passion. So many people don't even know what their passion is because they've been given and told what their passion is going to be, and they have no clue how to find out who they really truly are or what they would love to be involved in or what their passion truly is. So we have a lot of NPCs walking around, non-players out here just walking around, have no clue, just programs in the matrix. But then you have a few of us that have discovered who we are, that are working on trying to go to inner space instead of outer space, dig deep within ourselves, learn how to walk in our power, find out what our passion is, maximize that, and access that power and spread that power throughout the world.
Would you say your parents were Christians?
They were quasi-Christians. So they didn't go to church, but my dad would make me do book reports on the Bible from the time I was a little kid. My mother would make me say the prayers, So in that way, they were Christians.
When did you stop?
I stopped probably, I say, maybe around 12 or 13. I realized something was too much. There was too much contradiction in the text. Because remember, I'm doing book reports on the biblical text. And when I got to the point where God said, I create the good and I create the evil, do what I say at the Lord. That's in Isaiah. Then I realized something was really off. To take a look, and the deeper I dug into Deuteronomy, then I realized there's something wrong. What it was at that moment, I couldn't figure out, but I just knew something was a little off. I dabbled in it again later on to see maybe if there was something that I missed. And again, later on in my life, in my late 20s, I said, just doesn't make any sense. There's too many question marks. And every time you ask a question, they say, don't question God. Don't question the Lord. Blind faith. And I'm thinking, if I'm going to put all of my eternity into one book, if I'm saying this one book is going to lead me to eternity, and I don't know everything about it, every aspect about it, I can't question it, I can't dig deeper to get more knowledge out of it, then I think there's something wrong with that. I think there's something being hidden from me. And I'd rather be able to dig deeper, get more knowledge, get more understanding, versus people shunning me away from trying to dig deeper to get more answers. And I think that's a big problem. And I think the people that are shunning away and stopping you from getting those answers don't have the answers themselves.